In this short video, I'm going to outline some key things for you to think about as you do your first assessment piece, the personal code of ethics. Now, the idea of this particular exercise is for you to reflect on what you think and how you make decisions. It's not so much a research project as one where you think about the materials that we're providing you. So in terms of logistics, what you can see is that it's due in week 4 on the Tuesday, 12th of August at midnight. That, of course, does mean that the 48-hour extension applies. So really the deadline's Thursday, but I don't understand how that works. But okay, the official date, Tuesday, the 12th of August. I believe that that's just before the ECA holiday, so you will have the ECA holiday there as well in the 48-hour extension time. It's an individual assessment, which means you have to do it on your own, no helping each other. Of course, you can discuss with colleagues key concepts and ideas, but you should be doing the work. A maximum of 1,200 words, but again, QUT has a policy of plus 10%. So anyway, however that works, so you can do 1,200 words plus 10%. We're assessing 2 key criteria: the self-reflection criteria out of TS 4.1 and ethical principles out of 5.1. So what we're asking you to do is to explore key ethical theories and apply them to your professional context. So you're really thinking about yourself at work, yourself in a professional setting. How can you use AI? Well, look, you can use AI to kind of look things up if you want to know what a confirmation bias is or some examples of it, but you can't use any of that content in your submission. It's got to be all your own work. We're also going to give you a prompt, actually a GPT I've created, that prompts you to answer questions. So you're typing in the answers to those questions. I'll show that a little bit later. Of course you can use the answers because they're yours. That's what you're typing in. In fact, we're going to say that you need to handwrite those into our template. But the idea of the GPT is that if you're not 100% sure about how to go about reflection, this should hopefully prompt you to get deeper answers. So what are you not allowed to do? Well, you're not allowed to enter the task questions or the task sheets that we actually have. You're not allowed to use anything AI generates or creates because it's got to be your work. Key tasks like outlining or drafting the assessment can't be done by AI. So that's what you are and aren't allowed to use AI. So what's the task? Well, the main material is going to be covered in weeks 1 to 3. Across those 3 weeks, we want you to undertake 3 reflections. The first reflection is to come up with 3 key values you think would form the basis for you of a professional code of ethics. That is, a code you'd live by or you'd aim to live by in your working life. They should be based upon your reflections, your personal experience and thoughts on relevant topics, and the materials in the course. So you only need to use the materials in our course. Okay. Questions or topics that you might want to think about for that are how the values you choose are based upon ethics and not some other standard, how your code reflects your perspective on ethical relativity, whether you believe your orientation is teleological, deontological or virtue-based, and so on. Any of the concepts we're discussing across the 3 weeks, you can base your insight on those topics. Once you've worked out what your 3 values are, you need to think about the biases that might cause you to act or decide out of alignment with those values. Why might you vary from the behaviour you want of yourself? So you're to use the biases that we supply in the course. We have a set of individual level biases in week 1 and a set of group-based biases in week 2. You've got to select one of each and say why you think that bias particularly could apply to you. What's happened in your past? What do you think? What do you know about yourself that makes you think you're susceptible to that bias, right? So you can explain what the bias is and why you think it applies to you. Then in step 3, you have to come up with an accountability mechanism or mechanisms, right? So in week 3, we cover accountability mechanisms. You need to come up with one or a couple that will stop you falling prey to those biases, that will help you act in line with those values. So that's it. That's the key to the 1,200 words. You're supposed to write us a paper outlining what you see are 3 key values that you think you want to adopt in your professional life. You want to outline 2 biases, one individual, one group, that you think might make you deviate from behaviour aligned with those values. And then you've got to think about what you might put in place, what accountability mechanisms might help you overcome those biases and act the way that you want to act. And you have 1,200 words to do that. Hopefully it's clear that you only need to use the materials that we have in the course. We supply the biases, we supply the view on ethics, more than enough material. So this is not a research project. There's no marks for research. Instead, think of it this way. You need to do some reflections on these topics. That generates some material. That's like your research. Then you use those reflections to build your assessment piece, right? Your paper should be based on your reflections, just like a research piece is based upon the findings from your research. So to help you do that, what we've got are some reflection templates. And we expect you to submit 3 handwritten reflections. A reflection on your values, a reflection on biases, and a reflection on accountability mechanisms. That's the backup or the evidence that you have to demonstrate that your paper is based upon a deep reflection on the topics that we're asking. And so that's what we're asking here. You need to provide a record of 3 handwritten appendices that support the piece. You use our templates to show that you've reflected on these particular topics. Now, we don't have one correct or model answer for this assignment. You can approach it multiple different ways. What we're looking for is that you identify those 3 values and justify them based on your personal experience. The same with 2 biases and the same with accountability mechanisms. Notice, in addition to the formal CRA, we have the following criteria that apply to poor academic practice. That could be the use of AI, contract cheating, plagiarism, etc. And just to reiterate, one form of poor academic practice is uploading this task sheet or these questions into AI. So at the end, you'll need to make sure you're at 13, 20 words or less. You've addressed those 3 requirements. You've got your 3 handwritten reflections, and you've cited any course materials appropriately. You need to make sure you haven't submitted this task to an AI system. So how do we grade it? Look, I'll leave you to go through the CRA in detail, but what you'll see is that in criteria 1, which is about concepts and theories, there are 3 separate components. 1 about ethical principles, 1 about biases, and 1 about accountability measures. They reflect the 3 steps that you need to take. And we say, do you have an adequate, do you have a solid, do you have a thorough, do you have an insightful, nuanced? So essentially that's what we're saying. We want it linked to your reflection, right? Skillfully linked, insightful application to complex reflections, right? So if that's done increasingly well, you go up the scale. The way we apply our CRA here is that to get a 5, you need a solid understanding of ethics, a solid understanding of biases, and a solid plan. You need that and that and that. Or for a 6, you need this and this and this. So what happens if you have a thorough understanding, a solid understanding of biases, and a comprehensive accountability mechanisms? Well, the grade you'll get is a 5, probably a 5+, because you haven't demonstrated this. Okay? The effect of that is essentially your grade is based upon the lowest of these 3, because you have to demonstrate this and this and this. You have to demonstrate each of the topics are done at the level of the grade you are achieving. Similarly, for reflections, you can see that we have 2 subdimensions, whether there's well developed with a volume and their depth and quality. So if you put in your 3 reflections and think about them well, I think you'll be up at the exceptional depth and quality if you do enough writing on each of the 3, right? So you'll be at a 7. So it's going to come back to how well you do in this criteria as to what the final grade you get. So we're looking at the depth of the reflection, the volume of the reflection, and its connection to the material. So what we do is we look at the 2 criteria. We give you a grade against each of these, and then you end up with a grade across the 2 and a mark. So you can see that if, say, you got a grade of 5 on the first criteria and 7 on the second, what do you get? Well, generally you're going to get a 6 because the mark range is around 6.5 to 7.4 and 8.5 to 10. You know, theoretically, you could get 17.4, which would be a 7. So what that means is if we judged you as a 5 plus and a 7 plus in reflection, well, yeah, that could actually be a 7 mark. So it's not as though we give everyone the same mark within a range. We're going to say there's a high 5, a mid 5 and a low 5. And then we look overall where your grade sits and what mark you should get. Okay, so that's how that assessment piece works. I hope I've answered all your questions. The only other thing you might be interested in is the reflection sheets. So why don't we have a look at them? The reflection sheets are sheer templates to help guide you on the reflection. There's a reflection 1 about identifying your values, 2, recognising your biases, and 3, designing accountability mechanisms. So we're applying the 5R reflection method by Bain et al. The way you approach this task is you identify an incident or an event where you've seen this topic at work, detail your reaction to that event, relate that event or incident to the course content, and show the content being applied. Then you think about what does that mean for your future. So here's a template based upon values, right? Describe a time when you're proud or ashamed of a decision you made. What happened? How did it feel? What value do you think was being upheld? What is the value? So you're trying to name that value. What ethical framework that we discuss aligns with this value? What does it sound like? What does that reveal about what matters most to you? How will you see this? How will you use this value to guide future decisions? How are you going to spot when you're slipping? So you fill this out, handwritten, and that becomes an appendix. Similarly, we have reflections for biases and reflections for accountability mechanisms. And these become the appendices and the material on which you base your assessment piece. Now, we also understand that reflection can be difficult if you haven't done a lot of it before. So to help you with that, we've created an experimental, and I emphasize experimental GPT to help you with this. I'm going to go through it in a minute, but what I really want to stress is that you should be using things you type into the GPT, not what it gives you for your assignment, right? This is the one exception to using AI content is if you use this particular GPT. It's designed to ask you questions that will help you do the assignment. We're going to have one for values, one for biases, and one for accountability mechanisms. So my first stop would be use the template. If you're struggling, maybe try this GPT and then go back to fill the template in. It will help you do that. So I'm going to have a go at it now so you can think about how you might be able to use it in the assessment. Again, I want to stress you can use what you put in, right? You can handwrite that, not really what it's giving you, not if it comes up with an answer. So let's have a go and let's see how it works. Okay, so to begin, just type begin. Okay, reflection 1, identifying a core value. We're going to use this, answer prompt thoughtfully. Step 1, recall. Describe a time when you felt proud or ashamed of a decision. What happened? Who was involved? Okay, well, I'm feeling. Can you do this for me? Oh, okay. So again, you shouldn't get it to do you. You shouldn't get it to do the assignment for you. It should be helping you, right? So I've got to think about my experiences. When was the time? Well, once I agreed to do a review report for someone, and I realised I had a conflict of interest halfway through. It's a great starting point. Let's dig a little deeper. What was the review report about? Who asked you to do it? What kind of conflict of interest, right? So now I can start answering this. Because this is being recorded by everyone and it's a bit touchy, I'm going to put redacted. I had to review, I know what I had to review, and I know who asked me to do it, and X asked me, right? So you can see how my answers that I have start to become the basis of my reflection. And as I keep doing this, it's going to start telling me something about myself. At what point, right, did I have a conflict of interest? Well, it was a professional conflict, and I realised once I started to question if I could write a negative review because it could affect my career. Notice an ethical tension between being honest and protecting at that moment is powerful. Did you end up finishing the withdrew? How did the situation resolve? I ended up finishing the review with some weasel words, but I didn't feel good about it. Okay, I was very anxious. I didn't like not being 100% honest. I was probably worried about duty ethics, being honest, not being influenced, but was swayed by the consequence of my career. I have learned to think about conflicts of interest before I commit to things, trying to avoid. How will you use this value to guide your future directions? Think in the future, I would say no to the job. So again, it gives me some reflective material that I can choose. Maybe based upon this, I can realise that one of the values I might want to have as part of my particular code is honesty. So the beauty of this is it gives you that material to enter into your template, but it also helps you think. And so, for instance, with me doing this exercise, I might want to choose honesty as one of those values. But I also then need to think about, in terms of honesty, well, when would I deviate from that? Like, what are the limits? Because we know that one of the problems of deontological approaches, duty-based approaches, that I seem to want to do in this situation is that it can be too strict. So exploring that a little bit too would take me to that 7 level in terms of reflection. And so that's how you can use the GPT. It provides the base level material on which you can build your assessment piece. Okay, so that's assessment item 1, your personal code of ethics, an investigation of why you might deviate from those values that you identify, and then an articulation of the mechanisms that might hold you to those values that you particularly want to adopt in your professional life. It shouldn't be that hard, we hope. It's not a research piece. It should be all your work based upon what you think and what you value, what biases you're subject to, what accountability mechanisms you think work for you. And the more you can justify that with reflection, the better your mark is going to be. Hopefully that will take any confusion off the table around the use of materials and the task that we have for you. But if you do have any more questions, please see your tutor, see me. We're all here to help. Good luck.